Hello, everyone, and good evening to you. It was quite a profitable position for us on the CHFJPY last week as we were able to take advantage of this impulsive leg right below the neckline area, right into the 144 area, which gave us over 400 pips in profit. And one thing you also want to take note here that the CHFJPY got to its highest point since 1980, right above the 141 area last week before we saw that impulsive move to the downside. And I'm of the opinion that this impulsive move was as a result of the Bank of Japan's intervention in the FX market to limit the JPY's weakness. So is this move going to continue to send price go to the downside? That is this a signal that we are going to be going to the downside? Well, let's scale up to the daily time frame and let's see what structure we have on the daily time frame. And it is important that this is also going to be a follow-up detail of my previous analysis on this pair. I will be sharing the link to my previous analysis on the share, which comprises the follow-up details of how we took that trade last week in the comment section of that video. So look at the comment section of this video if you want to look at what our expectations were last week. So let's dive into the daily time frame and let's see what is really happening on the higher time frame. So on the higher time frame on the CHFJPY, that is on the daily time frame here, I was able to identify that price action has been on a very strong bullish momentum in the last couple of years. And one thing I did was to zoom into the structure we have since the beginning of the year. And since the beginning of the year, I think somewhere in the month of March, we saw the breakout of that bullish trend line here. And we can see how price has consistently found higher highs since then. We saw this point here, price came back to do a retest of that bullish trend line. And we saw a little rejection of that level. And we saw a final break above of the 140 Japanese yen to continue to send price go to the upside. However, something interesting happened during the month of June, which I want to zoom in so that we can see what I'm talking about here. We do have a structure right around the 143,500 and 145 area. And what structure is that? It's actually a supply zone. And as we can see since the beginning of the month of June, I think later part of the month of June stroke the early days of the month of July, we started seeing strength in the selling momentum here. We saw our participants were actually selling the CHFJPY. We saw rejection of the supply zone multiple times between the month of June and the month of August. But something interesting happened during the early days of this month as we saw a final breakout of that structure to give this bullish momentum that we are witnessing since the beginning of this month. And right now, that bullish move actually took price right to its highest point in the last, I think, over 30 years now. This was the highest point price has ever got in the last 30 years. And what happened afterwards was multiple rejection of that level to give us a clue of a possible selling momentum from this area. And when we look at a breakout of structure like this from a technical standpoint, we expect that price is likely going to come back and do a retest of that structure. So we saw the breakout of the structure here at the beginning of this month. Price came to a peak of 151.500 ish before we saw we were expecting that bearish momentum last week, and that price might likely come back to do a retest of the structure where we might be looking forward to um, possible uh, options that will be giving us a trend continuation to the upside. So what happened last week was quite significant and went as expected as we saw this supply zone become an area for selling momentum last week. We took price right back into the structure here. So now going into the new week, what is going to be our expectations here? Is the structure going to hold price action here to become a demand zone that will be sending price go to the upside? That is one question. Are we going to be seeing price go to the upside from here? Or are we going to be seeing a further breakdown of the structure a retest to be sending price crashing to the downside. So this is what I want to be looking at this week. So let's scale down to a much lower time frame where we're going to be looking at what the current structure has been giving us. So when we scale down to the 4 hours time frame here, what did we see? So zooming into the current structure here and taking into consideration the previous impulse leg here. So we had this impulsive move last week that happened. We saw price come right back into the 143.500 area. And since price came into that level, we saw a sharp rejection of that level. And what happened afterwards was a bullish signal. So is this going to be the beginning of a retracement phase right back into the neckline area here, where we're going to be looking forward to reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the trend continuation to the downside? That is one scenario I want to be looking at during the new week. How are we going to be having price breakdown continue to the downside here in such a way that we see the breakdown of this demand zone that I identified here? We see a breakdown retest to push price go to the downside. So that is another scenario I want to be looking at. However, when we scale down to the 1 hour time frame, I noticed that price has been caught within a consolidation phase right between the 146.250 area and the 145.100 area. As we can see, price has been caught within this channel, giving us a clue into the indecision that has gripped the market at this point. Hence, we are looking forward to probably participants are actually looking forward to a signal that is going to be pushing price to one direction. And for me personally, I'm looking at the current structure here. We could be looking forward to, hold on a second, we could be looking forward to a breakout of the structure to the upside with the hopes that price will break out, retest, push right back into the neckline area that was broken last week. Remember, after which we will be looking forward to opportunities of selling this pair. And the other scenario is if price breaks down this channel at the 145.00 level, that is, price breaks down this area, we might be seeing price retest that structure and pushing price right back into the bullish trend line we identified on the daily time frame. So going into the new week, this is what I'm going to be looking forward to. But one thing that is for sure is that whatever happens during the early hours of the new week will determine how participants is going to be relating with this level. And like I said, if we take into consideration this impulsive move to the downside, I want to be seeing this as a retracement. Sorry, hold on a second. I want to be seeing this as a retracement move right back into the neckline that was broken last week, where we might be looking forward to another opportunity to sell the CHFJPY next week. But be rest assured, I will be giving you an update in that regard after monitoring price action during the early hours of the new week. If this video has been of immense help in making your decision for this week, kindly support this project by clicking the like button, and you will also want to follow me on my TradingView platform at Dark Sherry so that you don't miss out on the regular updates I normally share on every video. Thank you for liking and watching this video, and I hope to see you Monday morning in the comment section of this video as usual. Bye bye.